So now that the list is out, let's talk about it. So, Hamiel banned. Said this in my V-Bro retrospective.
I honestly see Hamiel being banned.
Needed to go. Meep, consistency hitter to melody. Cool. Percival being hit to 1 and then unchoice restricted with Gurgit. A lot of people don't understand this. This makes perfect sense. Any gold paladin deck is automatically better with Percival in it, and it's because Percival helps you scale so much. A, it gets you a marker, but B, it also gets you Aglavale, which is just a second body. 2 bodies and 2 markers for realistically breaking even. It seems pretty good. So Percival being hit makes sense. I expect to see. I want to see Gurgit a lot more because you guys know I'm a sucker for defensive option decks, and Gurgit just so happens to be the best of both worlds. But Percival being hit to 1, glad to see it. I think I said this also in my V-Bro retrospective.
You can put Percival to 1.
That Percival would be, if you had to hit anything in Gold Paladin, it would be Percival. So I'm glad to see that Percival being hit to 1 is what it is. Now this is where it gets interesting. Choice restriction galore. So we have Q-Tire, Rosa, and Ellie on the Bermuda Triangle side. This is the part of the list that is not it. So I know there was that one Highlander Prism list that was going on during V-Bro, and I guess they wanted to touch that, if anything. I don't agree with this being the triangle choice restriction. I mean, I'm glad to see Ellie's on here because Ellie is a strong card, and if you take it out of the Prism engine, I guess, that could, emphasis on could, reduce the tankiness of Prism, which could make it easier to beat. I don't see that being likely, but it is something. I'm still under the thought that the triangle choice restriction, if anything, would be Aqua, Lieselot, and Ellie, but Ellie's on here. Sure. I guess so. And then the Shadow Paladin section. So we had the domain. The domain and the Lord. But now we have the Karen and the Lord. And this is the most interesting part to me because they decided that in order to hit Luard, you have to hit the resource management of Luard, which I don't disagree with. Luard is a very consistent deck, so if you're able to hit its resource management, you can basically stunt Luard quite a bit. Karen being the choice is really interesting because in V, there are not a lot of good counterchargers. I mean, you could play Dorant or Cloudus, but that also requires you to play the other one. And it also countercharges you during the end phase, which, you know, has its own benefits and disadvantages, obviously. But it is still something that you can do. But now in V, people that are playing Nemain and Karen decks like, I don't know, Claret Sword, the Blaster, Revengers, if Revengers are even playing these, any Shadow Paladin deck that was playing these two in V can now no longer, because so hitting the consistency in Luard in Karen makes enough sense because Karen is really the only good countercharger in Shadow Paladin. But just this part of the this we were all comfortable with, right? We were not happy with it because of how it could translate into English. And, you know, this did translate into English. Hamiel and Percival, solid. Uh, the Bermuda Triangle portion is strange because realistically, you take out four Ellies and just replace them with something else. And Prism is basically the same deck, so we're Prism. I don't know. I think Prism is still going to be one of the upper echelon decks, if anything. Uh, but just not having Ellie for a free 20k shield is nothing to wave a stick at. But Prism will be Prism, and I think Luard is going to drop down a peg. Like if it's at the top of S for V right now, I think it might go to the bottom of S, top of A, just for the sake of not having the same resource management as it used to. Because Karen also soul blasted you out, drag drivers for you to then put back into your deck. So you have to rely more on cards like Knees, I guess. Like that forces you to run Knees, Abyssal Owl, but you have to call Abyssal Owl off of drag driver, so you kind of get stuck in the cycle. So this is, I will say, this is more than nothing. And I think it's really interesting that this, on the English side at least, is what they decided to come to in terms of how to handle the top decks. But yeah, a strange one to be sure. So let me know what you guys think of this list. I know it's not phenomenal, but I think at least on the Luard side, it's something more than other. On the Prism side, not really. I mean, you guys have a lot more knowledge. But hey, Nairo's got away without a scratch. So let's go. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think of this list in the comments, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.